Hello, marvelous American Lit students. I'm still basking in the afterglow of our Nathaniel Hawthorne class this morning. You guys did a really good job working through that Minister's Black Veil and Marymount. It's difficult stuff, and we all did it together. Believe me, I cannot get through that stuff alone. So thank you very much for your excellent participation, just doing what you guys do, and keep it up, keep it up. So we're going to talk today about Benjamin Franklin's The Way to Wealth. Ben Franklin, my favorite founding father, worked on the Declaration of Independence. Very smart guy, invented bifocal glasses. He invented the Ben Franklin wood stove, which people still use today in their homes. He worked with electricity. He was a great writer. He was really funny, great observer of people. So Ben Franklin, just a cool guy, and we had the pleasure of reading a couple of essays from him. So I was just enjoying sitting here in the swing chair outside, because it's a beautiful day, enjoying your responses to The Way to Wealth, and I'm so glad so many of you seem to be taking pride in some of the Ben Franklin advice that you are already following. And let me just lay it out for you here, people. You've probably been told money isn't everything. Money isn't everything, but it's a lot. We're in America, and we're a very wealthy nation, but with that comes a great opportunity to be poor, because our high standard of living is expensive to keep and to maintain. But I think following this 200 plus year old advice from Ben Franklin, we can have much better lives. So you could read this essay every month and pick a new piece of advice to follow, and I guarantee you your life will be improved. So I'm just going to work through some of the comments that you guys made. Taylor: instead of buying unnecessary things, I save up and buy what's needed. I'm frugal with money and I have the need to save as much as possible. Yes, just understanding the concept of needs versus wants will serve you well in life. And you need food, you need warmth in the winter time. Living around here, you probably need basic car transportation. You probably need 2 or 3 pair of pants, not 15. You probably need 5 t-shirts, a couple of button-downs. Generally, we have a lot more than we need. So you need to understand differences between needs and wants, and you need to apply it strictly to your life. So Taylor, that will serve you well. That will serve you well, knowing the difference between an absolute need and almost everything is really a want. Abby, I like how you talk about continuous learning and self-improvement, productive leisure. So most of us have to work, but then we have free time, one hopes. And what you do with that free time can still be useful, right? Reading, learning, spending quality time with other people, listening, learning about others. Leisure time is time where you're choosing what you want to do, but you can choose things that are still beneficial to you spiritually, maybe even financially, as opposed to just lazing around, which we do a lot of these days, watching the YouTube and video games, etc., etc. Good job, Abby. Productive leisure. Productive leisure. And Jess, you had a lot of good stuff here. A lot of insight, since you and your husband have your own business, and you learned that when you were watched very closely by one particular employer, it annoyed you. Then you asked, and they said, well, watching the people who work for us is watching our money. And you said some of the clients you work for are wealthy. You know what? Sometimes wealthy people seem cheap. That's how you get wealthy. You watch your money. And when you're paying people to do something, you watch them. And instead of getting bummed by that, Jess was like, all right, everybody we work for, we're going to encourage them to watch us so they know what they're getting for their money. So just sort of an interesting perspective, not so much you and your husband watching your money, but encouraging other people to watch you, because their money's going to you. And people like that and will employ you. So I like that, Jess. That was a good twist on things. Gabrielle, frugality. Yeah, frugality. You don't want to be cheap, right? You don't want to be cheap, like going out with a friend for a little luxury and you don't pay your share of dinner. That's not frugal. Frugal is being wise and thoughtful, trying to spend little, but don't be cheap, right? Especially if you're on a date. Yes, frugality is good, and we're gonna get back to a little bit more on frugality, Gabrielle. Trinity, doing your best to live debt-free. It is hard in America. Those of you young people out there, going into debt for a house, that's fine because the house holds its value and goes up. So if you borrow $200,000 and get a house that's worth $250,000 and you're paying interest, well, someday you'll have it paid off and it'll be worth $400,000. So we're not talking about house because that holds its value if you take care of it. Everything else you go in debt for, unless it's a business, is a waste. Unfortunately, cars are so expensive, but if you can buy that first car like I did, buy that first car without going into debt, maybe getting somebody to help you, parents with a little bit of money, and you always save up for the next car. And then when your old car dies, you have the money. So you're making car payments all along, just to your bank account, not to a loan company. So avoiding debt, especially credit card debt. And if you have any debt, and I think I'm going to bet that Trinity knows this, if you owe anybody anything, bank, credit card, etc., whenever you spend money, you're just adding to the debt. Even if you think you're not going into debt, you owe a credit card company money and you spend cash on something that you didn't need, throw that cash at the credit card, not on the thing you didn't need. So well done, well done. Nadia, maintain your independence. It's a big one, Nadia, for you. Doing things you love and doing what's best for you is the thing that works for me the most in order to be successful. There's nothing wrong with focusing on yourself, taking care of yourself. Honestly, I think that's good for everyone, right? It's good for everyone when you take personal responsibility because you don't have to depend on someone else and they can go take care of themselves. Well done, Nadia, well done. Kyla. Yes, Kyla also dug into needs versus wants here. Save. We won't have to complain about money we've lost or that's taken from us. Yeah, Kyla confesses here. This relates to my own behavior because I spend a lot of money and always complain about not having enough and wondering where it went. Yes. I bet if you ask 100 Americans, you say, how can you get, more money? 99 of them will say, oh, well, you need to work harder, you need to make more money. That's only half of it. You can have more money by spending less, right? Think of it this way. Money comes in your left pocket and it goes out your right pocket. And you can increase the money you have in your pants by increasing the money going to the left or by decreasing the money coming out the right. So almost no American thinks of, how do I get more money? I'll spend less. Because every message we get is to spend more, unless you're in this class talking Ben Franklin. Nicole, it's easier to suppress the first desire than to satisfy all that follow it. Yes, yes, yes. You used to have a shoe habit, huh, Nicole? Yes, because it's almost like, well, I'll just have one cookie. Next thing you know, you eat 8 cookies. Don't even have the first cookie, unless it's your birthday. It's easier to suppress the first desire than satisfy. It's habit, right? It's habit. Spending, wasting money is habit. And I'm not going to spend any more money on coffee. I see students walk into class with these Dunkin' Donuts coffees, and I see the price tag on it. It's like $4.80. Get a free travel mug somewhere and make your own coffee at home. Come on. That's bad. You're spending $5 on a cup of coffee. Well, maybe you can afford that, but then you know what? Because of that, you might spend $25 on a shirt at H&M or Forever 21 that you don't really need. And then that just leads to that and leads to more and more and more. But if you stop buying the coffee, you won't even think about buying the shirt. Patricia, hard-working Patricia, keeping your nose to the grindstone. I like that a lot. You also, though, Patricia, you had a nice balance here. Keep the nose to the grindstone, but you also had a life of leisure, and laziness are two things. So you can be, again, I like this idea of productive leisure, right? You can keep your nose to the grindstone. That means work hard. Even when you're not working for a job, but you can keep your nose to the grindstone and feel positive about things, right? Feel positive about things. Exercise, reading. There are all sorts of things you can choose to do with your time that will make you more productive and more happy. But, it might feel like work. It might feel like work. J. Great estates may venture more, but little boats should keep near shore. Yes, Ben Franklin saying little things need not take on what bigger things are doing. Don't try to do something you can't do. Don't try to take on something you can't do. Keep your aspirations reasonable. Keep your aspirations reasonable and work hard. Or as many of you have heard me say, keep your expectations in life low. Work hard and you'll always be satisfied. Rita. Rita says, to be wealthy, think of saving as well as getting. We covered that, Rita, and hopefully you're like, hey, that's a great idea, right? Saving, not spending, is as important as getting more money, right? Getting more money. And material things don't make you happy. We'll talk about that more when we get around to Thoreau. Chloe, love it. And then away then with your expensive follies, and you will not have so much cause. Yes, right? The more stuff you own, the bigger house you have to put it in, the more money that costs. Do away with your expensive follies, right? Even if you can afford a lot of stuff, stuff does not make you happy. It's a folly. It's a folly. Enrich your hearts and your minds, not your material qualities. And you'll always have enough because you won't want a lot. And last but not least, Justine. Justine got in on one of the funnier lines of Franklin here. God helps those that helps themselves, says Ben Franklin, which is kind of saying, don't count on God, help yourself, right? So when I read God helps those that helps themselves, is really saying that we are in control of our outcome. If we give, we get. You can't expect just to take. Absolutely, right? God helps those that helps themselves, which means help yourself. Look out for yourself, right? Don't take from others, but look out for yourself. So I'm so glad you guys all found something worthwhile in Ben Franklin. It's a great essay, coming up on 1758. So we're at like 250 years ago, more, that this was written. And it's never been more relevant than today. It's never been more relevant than today. And making choices. And you can, he ends this essay, it's so funny and so dark. He gives all of this advice is given to people who are about to waste money at an auction from somebody who went bankrupt buying people's stuff. And they all listen and they nod at this advice, and then they bid buying stuff that they don't need. So how often do we understand good advice and then immediately proceed to not follow it? So work hard out there, people. I love you. I really do. This is good stuff. You're being thoughtful. We're building our minds in this class. I know it's not easy stuff. It is not easy reading. This is not an easy class. I told you that in my welcome video. But we are plugging away. We are keeping our nose to the grindstone, and we are learning some valuable lessons. Have a great day, everybody.